This is what we do. In Air Mobility Command, we deliver hope. Airlift, air refueling, air medical evacuation, and our ground air mobility support forces, our 4 core missions of Air Mobility Command, all of them were fully engaged. When we got the orders on the 13th of August, within 3 hours, our airmen were packing and mobilizing the security elements of Kabul Airport with the Army and the Marine Corps, both on the east coast of the United States, down at Charleston, and in the Gulf states of Central Command.
The Taliban took over Afghanistan in kind of an astonishing period of time, and so I was not expecting having to do the NEO in the middle of August. However, we had planned that eventually it was likely that there would be a NEO required, so planning had been going on.
What was clear was there was a growing number of folks that needed to be evacuated, beginning with American citizens, then SIVs, then Afghans at risk. That number kept growing.
The estimates early on were anywhere from 40,000 to 200,000 individuals that might have to come out. It's a wide range to have to plan against.
So the key here was to ensure that we had the capacity, both at Kabul, and frankly, remember, we deal around the globe. We didn't just move them once. It was Kabul, through the Central Command states, through European Command, and over to NORTHCOM. So the complexity of working with 3 different combatant commands, plus the federal government, Department of State, who is the lead for NEO operations, the processing that's necessary. The amazing support we got from our allies and partners. 9 nations said that they would help and assist and set up interim bases, and over 30 nations contributed airlift to this. Plus, we activated the Civil Reserve Air Fleet for the 3rd time in our history. But pulling all of that together added to that complexity to meet the capacity needs that the Central Command commander had.
Variable after variable, and then over that was just an increasing threat picture, and HKIA, of course, kind of culminated in August 26th. In the end, there was an end date, that we didn't have as much time as we necessarily would have wanted. Very complex.
So our constraints and restraints were changing all the time based on the inflow that was expected. We didn't exactly know how long it would take to process them. How many could they load per day? So there's a lot of coordination, and we had to stay very closely tuned to Central Command, European Command, and Northern Command to ensure that we could monitor the flow across the globe and make sure that our assets matched the requirements.
I think a few things, I guess, worked to our advantage. One is there was prior planning, despite kind of the overnight aspect of the NEO kicking off. There had been some planning, so it was not starting from scratch. The second is, General Lyons, as the commander of Transportation Command, has a lot of authorities and had the requisite authorities that he did not have to, or have me, go back to the Pentagon, to the Joint Staff, or Office Secretary of Defense, and looking for permission to move rapidly. He has that under his authority, so I think one of the key things is how agile we were able to move aircraft, crews, and enablers around the system. And then probably the last one is multiple times a day, wherever people are in the world, multiple times a day, a sync between all of the combatant commands that were involved, the Pentagon, to make sure that any emerging situation or emerging challenge was addressed. It was long days, hard work, but I think having a previous plan, having authorities in place that allowed us to act quickly, and then being able to multiple times a day sync with all the agencies involved allowed it to be the success that it was.
This is a complex, historic operation. Almost all of the core missions of the Air Force were exercised in this operation. And in the end, as I watched the final airplanes lift off, as I sat here, flanked by the amazing Total Force Airmen in our AOC, airlift was the supported mission with all of these other airplanes and capabilities airborne to support that final extraction of the ground force that had secured that airport. So being a supported mission, that's not often the case. And so I'm very grateful for the Air Force, all those assets supporting our assets on the ground, which made it a total force, Air Force success.
As this operation was going on towards the end of August, people were already starting to think about the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And so I thought back to the start of Operation Enduring Freedom. And on the first night of Operation Enduring Freedom, I was flying a C-17 formation of C-17s in to do airdrops over Afghanistan. And so there was a bit of a full circle moment where I was deeply involved in getting the last act of the war to its completion, and then thinking back that I was there at the opening act as well.
It swells in me that our airmen could be so compassionate after working all those hours to take the very details and make sure that each family is well taken care of. And I think that just bodes well, because no other nation can do that. We have been the arms of humanity and hope, the American people have, for nations around the world. This is just yet another time. And the life that these Afghans will have in America, they have a second chance.